Okay, so we are on assignment 12. This is going to be part one, working in orange here. And so I'm just going to share my screen, pull up what I got for the blueprint we got going on here. So just do a little quick, brief overview of everything we got going on. So we got corpus here with our text file of the train restaurant reviews with the specific amount of values taken out to be used as a test. And we pre-processed it, put it in a bag of words, and kind of did some manipulation here, excuse me, to separate out the liked as one of the variables that we are going to be determining. Ran the regression, tested and scored it, and then from there, we let it do its thing, and then brought this guy back down here with our test observations, which were just the sections that we took out of the train module. So after we ran the logistical regression of the words, and we went in here and we kind of saw how the reviews went and kind of how the wordage was linked to whether it was a 1 or a 0, 1 being liked and 0 being not liked. Then use that regression to put it in this prediction machine and use the kind of the model that it found and the consistencies of best fit to then interpret this data here and to see how well it could tell by just the wordage if a review is positive or negative. So I'm just going to pull this up here just to kind of take a look at it. I briefly looked through the first 20 to use as a sample size just for kind of convenience. And, you know, I figured it was a pretty decent sample size. We had about 100. So we can see here just based on these first 20. So we'll kind of quickly go through them. This first one says it's positive. It is positive. Second one, positive also. So that's good. Third one, this one is kind of ambiguous. I would say that this one here, they would be mostly correct. Yes, I would say that this is a negative review. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell with the first part seems very negative and the second part seems very positive in a sense. It'd be hard to really, it's a very ambiguous statement, I think, but it sounds mainly negative. So, you know, positive, good. This one's good. And so at 6 here, this is the first one that I noticed was incorrect. So this one says it is a dislike, but it says this is one of the better buffets that I've been to. So that'd be a mostly positive. Good. This was also good. And then 8 is good. And this one here says it's negative. This says we'll go back next trip out. So I would say that's a positive. So in the first 10, we got 2 wrong, 80%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. That one's good. And so this one, not good. So it'd be 3. You know, Yama is not that good. So 3, that one's accurate. This one's accurate. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. This is good. This one I would say would be negative. So that one being negative, I could see how maybe the regression would be confused with the word better, but here being used in a negative context. So, and this one's good. So in the first 20, we had about 4 that were incorrect. So 4 out of 20, you know, about 25% margin of error on there. So 75, correct 75% of the time. So that's a pretty good predictor. That is pretty good. You know, 70 is a good mark, 75. Pretty solid. And, you know, most of these, it did a really good job just to think of, you know, there's so much, I would say, social context and maybe I don't know what the best word is, just social awareness of how, like, the implications of these statements and how they're being used in a very common way. I think it's kind of similar in the sense of, when you are foreign visiting a different country and you might say a statement meaning in one way, but in how it's used, locally or in that area, it's interpreted differently. So it's kind of hard to really get that human element of, not taking everything so completely literally, like the computer does. But for 75%, that's a pretty dang good mark on there. Every 3 out of 4, 75 out of 100. So that's what I got on there. Let me make sure, let me just double check that I did answer all the questions we got on here. Yeah, so just based on what we saw there, I would say for a computer not being able to, like I said, interpret those human elements of language and taking everything literally, 75% is a good mark. And it's a good algorithm. It's very, very interesting. I've enjoyed using this. It's very helpful tool to dissect something, like text in language.